14 weeks out,
Yeah.
and back orders were 8 weeks out. More. We got average windows, I got the opposite, people are saying windows are 30 weeks. It's not getting better. But, let's see, maybe after
Is there an official clock in here? Yeah.
another year.
I don't think there is.
You know, I got one time on my phone. I know.
Watch. Okay. Do you copy that today for me? Well, yeah.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Act 78 Commission, the two commissioners here, myself, Steve Pop, and Steve Lopkovich, are here to meet on the request of a hearing due to a termination by Mark Meyers, or Chief Meyers being terminated involuntarily. This occurred on February 24th. He has made an appeal to the Act 78 that the termination was involuntary and it violates the Act 78, the Public Act 78. As the Act 78 Commission, we are hearing this, we are having this hearing based on Act 78. And in Act 78, it says all full-time paid members appointed in the fire and police departments are entitled to the Act 78 provisions. So we are basing that hearing on this. There is no exclusions for anybody that is full-time and paid in the fire and police department based on Act 78. So until there is evidence presented to us that that is not the case, that something supersedes this law right here, we are going to follow through with our hearing. Going to try and keep this procedurally as proper as possible, but the gentleman, Marty Crandall, who was supposed to run this hearing, was terminated from this Act 78 proceeding yesterday, or terminated from the Act 78 Commission yesterday. So he was fully prepared to run the hearing. So myself and Steve, we're going to do the best we can to provide all parties the rights that they deserve. The city has responded to us that they're not going to attend this meeting, which is, that's their prerogative. We received emails last night telling us they would not attend. They were properly notified about this meeting, and that was their response. Mark Meyers, who was making this appeal, was also notified. He has shown up today, and we are going to ask Mark now if he can step up and present his side on this appeal in the Act 78 hearing.
Thank you, Commissioners. It's going to be relatively brief. A historical perspective of why I'm here, standing in front of you, what my understanding is of my role, and how my involuntary separation occurred. So, in 1997 of August, I was hired under Public Act 78 here in Dearborn Heights. As every police officer that's come through the police department since Act 78 was adopted by the people of Dearborn Heights. I was hired under the provision of Act 78 of 1935. Since 1978, following Act 78, the DHPOA collective bargaining agreement, the police officer bargaining agreement, and the Dearborn Heights Police Supervisors Association collective bargaining agreement. I have tested, promoted through every single rank of this police department in conjunction with both of those CBAs and the State Act, Public Act 78. This is to include the position of deputy chief and chief. Through Act 78 and the collective bargaining agreements, specifically, once to the point of deputy chief, where it says in the collective bargaining agreements that they'll test through the position of deputy chief. Article 11, Section 1C of the Dearborn Heights Police Supervisors Association reads as follows. There shall be automatic progression from the rank of deputy chief to chief without further testing, and the union waives the right of and for its members for testing for the rank of chief. Therefore, I was promoted, and I have a signed letter on May 27th, 2021 that reads, in accordance with the provisions of the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Dearborn Heights and the Police Supervisors Association, page 14, Article 11, Section 1C, the below listed is hereby promoted to the rank of Chief of Police effective May 27th, 2020, and it's signed by Mayor Daniel S. Paletko. Now I want to make 2 points about that letter. One, the page really isn't, depends on how big you blow up the page on a PDF, so it's not page 14 depending on the size font you're using, but it is definitely Article 11, Section 1C. But most importantly in that, this memo, and it's the General Order number 1137 within the police department, I was promoted to the rank of sergeant, or to the chief of police. I was not appointed. I was promoted by the mayor of Dearborn Heights. As such, a promotion falls squarely within the rules of Act 78. Every police officer here falls under Act 78. Fast forwarding to being promoted to the rank of chief of police, on February 24th, 2022, I was had a meeting with the mayor and the HR director, and I was advised that they thanked me for my service and that my services was no longer needed and I was being removed from my position. I asked what cause, and they said they had the legal right to remove me. At that day, in the eyes of the city, I believe my employment was terminated without cause. I then went to Act 78, Section 38514, tenure, grounds for removal, discharge, suspension, or deprivation of privileges, cause, written statement of charges, answer, hearing, reinstatement, records of testimony, appeal, counsel, reduction of time paid members, new appointments. In that section, it discusses the process to appeal this.
I don't need that. Can you give me the number on that section?
38514, 38.514.
1 second, let me just. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but, okay,
All set?
go ahead, yeah.
Okay. According to this section of Public Act 78, I followed the rules that are currently in place for Public Act 78. Within 5 days of my separation, it reads, if I could, in each case where a person sought to be removed desires to file a written answer, shall be furnished to the Civil Service Commission and entered upon its record, which I did within 5 days. At that time, I still received no written cause or charges for my dismissal, other than what was provided to me when I met with the mayor and the human resource director, and they told me that I was being relieved of my duties. Because of that, I requested a hearing. I believe at that time, and I can't speak for this commission, but I believe a certified letter was sent to the mayor's office asking for a list of those charges and notifying them of this meeting. Or what was the reasons that I was relieved of my duty and involuntarily separated. As of this date and time, I have never been provided any type of reason, cause, written notification, or anything that's required according to Public Act 78 as part of the process to suspend, remove, discharge, or any of those things. I'm here before you today saying that I have followed every provision of Public Act 78. At no time have I ever been told, historically, through my own knowledge, through past practice of this city, that I was an appointed official without Act 78. Every single police deputy chief and chief has fallen under Public Act 78 and promoted to the rank of chief, knowing at time of promotion that they were protected under Public Act 78 and the form of the CBA that extended the testing and promotion process. I will go further to say, if I can find it, that I believe the city is relying on a section of the charter, 511B, which speaks to excluding appointed positions, including the chief of police, from the civil service system. I do not believe that is applicable, given the electors of the city have adopted statutory Act 78 Police and Fire Civil Service, which includes employment of all ranks. As a matter of historical perspective and practice, every police chief for the city of Dearborn Heights has attained the position through 78 and the collective bargaining agreements. This position was not appointed, as I said prior, it was by the mayor. It was filled exclusively through the statutory mechanism of 78 and the collective bargaining agreement. I never signed any agreements that I was appointed and that I was an at-will employee. Matter of fact, I was promoted, as I said earlier, by Mayor Daniel Palecko on May 27, 2020, in accordance with an article within the CBA, that the CBA clearly shows that the promotion, hiring, testing, and promotion of police officers is done through the Act 78 process. I'm asking that I be retained, all my pay be put back to me, and my position with the police department be reinstated as the rules Act 78 require. The city has met none of their obligations under 78, including absolute no reply to this hearing, and is basically wiping their hands of 78. I'm very speculative of why the president of this commission was removed the day before my hearing by the mayor. I would love to see or hear what the explanation is from the city as just another hurdle of trying to prohibit my rights under 78. So I leave that up to you, and I hope that you guys make the right decision. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to do what's best for me, my family, the citizens of Dearborn Heights, and every member that has ever gone through Public Act 78 on the police and fire side, every member that will come through police and fire in the city of Dearborn Heights, because when we give up Act 78, we give up our rights to be treated fairly in the eyes of the law and to be justly promoted, justly disciplined or terminated as well. But justice is what we're looking for, and I did not receive it under this process at this time. So thank you.
Mark, do you have any other evidence or anything else to?
Yes, Commissioner Pop. I will happily make copies of the general order signed by Mayor Palecko. You already have Act 78 rules and regulations for you to look at. You also have the city's Act 78. I would like to make another comment when I'm done with my portion, just to,
Yeah.
I'm curious to see why, are we able to know why our third commissioner in a civil service was removed from his position?
I don't know that we're at large to discuss his termination, it's a separate issue, obviously, but, whether it's related or not, is, the city chose to do that. They, in that position, they also must show cause.
Okay. It's, then if it's
We're,
not my
we sit here
business,
as volunteers, basically, and,
I'm not asking you to put yourself in a bad position, the timing seems very suspect. Thank you, and I'll get you copies of
Well,
everything.
I'm sorry, but we were sent texts and, you know what, maybe you could ask that at the meeting, we have a Act 78 meeting on Monday, and we could discuss his termination then, and not this hearing,
Thank you.
okay?
So then, can I ask one more thing?
Yeah,
I'm
you can
sorry.
ask all you
There
want.
was one thing that I left out. To this date, which we're now at March 24th, 2022, which would have been my 24th year and roughly 5 months of serving the city and the citizens of Dearborn Heights. I have a hard copy of my personnel file. I have every email I've sent that I can possibly think of. I have never been disciplined. I have never been counseled. I have never been warned. I have never had any remedial training, or I've never been notified of any missteps, wrongdoings, policy violations, anything to justify my termination. That goes all the way back to 1997. Since 1997, I had one written supervisory warning. It's because I showed up late, 15 minutes late for work. In 24 years of service, my personnel file has absolutely nothing in it. That's to this date. If anything shows up afterwards, it wasn't there on February 24th because I obtained a hard copy file in my file. So anything that's brought after this date is cannon fodder, is justification found afterwards to meet their cause or their reason on the 24th. So there was never any, including me asking multiple times, is there anything I should be doing different? Thank you.
Hold on.
Yep.
Can we would like to have a copy of that letter from Mayor Paletka.
Yes.
And, I don't know if we can do this or not, but his, a copy of his work, maybe Act 78 file, I don't know if that's something we can, because the fact is, if there is any appeals, it's based on what we do here. I don't think he would actually be able to get up and speak again at some point. I'm just saying, so I'd like to have everything we have.
They want me to sign a waiver for you guys to look at my file. I have no problem with it. I won't put it in a public record, but if you want to go look at it, you'll see for yourself.
All right, we'll get it there.
Yeah, I don't mind signing the waiver for you to look at my personal file.
Okay. No other testimony or evidence. Like I said earlier, the city was notified at a proper time, in a proper way, a certified letter. The response we got back was they wanted to cancel the meeting today. So if we have no other information to be given to us, I guess we will come down with a decision. I would like to tell you, we'll give it to you by 2 o'clock this afternoon, but I don't know if that's going to happen because we want to make sure whatever decision we make, it's the right one for you, and for Cindy and everybody, and addresses our responsibilities to Act 78. Unfortunately, both myself and Steve are leaving out of town next week. So hopefully, we can get this done before we do go. But if we don't, I apologize, it's just a schedule. I mean, I think he's got something a little more personal I do, I'm just going on vacation. So, that's where we stand, is that,
My calendar's pretty open, so, I have no problem with, I want you to do the right thing for everybody involved.
okay. Appreciate everybody's cooperation here. At this time, we are going to bring this hearing to an end. Thank you very much.